Hello, this is Michael Owens with Here Come the Irish, and you're watching the Two Irish Brothers Show. Go Irish.
How's it going, everyone? I am ND Sean 45.
I am Irish Benjamin 57.
And together we make up the Two Irish Brothers. But before you guys do anything, hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. You won't be sorry that you did. You will not regret it for a second. Real quick, something that I want to personally give a shout out to. I want to give a shout out to our regular viewer, Bob Walker. I actually met him in person on Friday night.
Oh, did you now?
Yes, I did. He wanted me to say hello to you, Ben. And he hopes that sometime when he's back in the area that you can be up there for that time. But it was awesome sitting with Bob and shooting the breeze with him. He is an awesome, awesome dude. And Bob, it was great to meet you in person. So with that said, let's get to business here. Irish come off a big win last night over our rival, the USC Trojans, 31-16. Ben, I got to tell you, I was really impressed with this game last night, the way the Irish played.
Yeah, a little bit of a slow start, which is, I don't know, typical Notre Dame in my opinion. They either 9 times out of 10 they start slow, but then really get it going. And tonight was no different, or last night I should say. But yeah, overall they look good. Kind of maturing, if you will. Aging like a fine wine.
That's a perfect way.
Very, very impressed with some of the things that happened yesterday. I mean, was it a perfect game? No. Were there mistakes? Yes, of course. But on the up and up, I really liked what I saw yesterday. And not a tremendous amount of complaints on my end.
Well, here's the thing. Let's talk about a couple of the good things, and these things go together like bread and butter. The running game came alive, especially with Kyron Williams. He had 138 yards, an average of 5.5 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. But what goes together with that is the offensive line. We really saw them mature big time last night in regards to that fine wine comment that you made. And I don't know, they found something that worked. That offensive line was really able to gel well last night. And like I've said all along, and this is just common football sense, when your offensive line opens up the holes, that running game comes alive, and that opens up so many avenues for you to go on your offense.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, teams live and die by their lines. I mean, that's just that it is a fact. I mean, you can go from Pee Wee all the way up to Pro Bowl. I mean, and digressing for a second, look at Clemson's struggles this year. Their offensive line has struggled this year. There's a reason that they have 3 losses.
Yes.
I mean, that's the reason right there. If you watch DJ Ungale, he has no time. He has no time at all. And it goes, and he can actually run the ball. I mean, he's not like Cone, who can't run. So, there's a reason that Kyron finally eclipsed the 100-yard mark. Well, it's because the offensive line actually gave him time and protection. So this is how you dominate. I mean, Notre Dame took care of business relatively easy last night.
Yes, and you look at the play calling as well. I mean, I'm not going to say that the play calling by Tommy Rees improved, but they seem to come up with something that worked for Jack Cohn. Now, Jack Cohn, I got the stats right here. Let me check defensively here. Let me see if I can find it. Trying to see how many times Cohn was sacked last night.
We can do defensive totals here.
Well, it looks like only one. He was only sacked 1 time last night.
And see, that makes all the difference in the world. I mean, granted, he was right under do believe he was right under 200 yards. I think it was 199.
Yes. He was 20 of 28, 189 yards passing, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. And I'll cut him a break on that interception that he threw, but still though, that's not one that you just want to throw up and hope for the best. That's something that he should have just taken the sack on or thrown away. But when you look at the end result, you can't really complain too much. But what I was going to finish saying was, it looked like they finally came up with the right kind of style for Jack Cohn, and it was efficient. We mentioned this in previous videos of Jack Cohn and the high tempo, fast paced offense. That's what they were going with last night, that Notre Dame offense. And guess what? It worked. He was having success.
Yeah,
he was calm and collective. I'm sorry, say that again.
I noticed short passes last night.
Yes.
Getting the ball really quickly out of his hands and into a receiver or even running back, because Kyron Williams had quite a few targets last night. But it's getting the ball out of his hands quickly, because he can't do anything with his feet. We know that. So if that's the case, then you give him a little bit of time and you make the ball come out of his hand immediately.
Well, and also what I really like seeing too was not only was he getting the ball out quick, but you look at the leading receivers, Lorenzo Styles, freshman, I believe, three catches, 57 yards. Michael Mayer, it was great to see him back on the field after he got hurt last week, 5 catches, 54 yards. Kyron Williams, 6 catches, 42 yards. Kevin Austin, 4 catches, 39 yards. Deion Colsey with a catch, for 13 yards. So I'd like to see him get a little more involved. And then you had Avery Davis with the lone touchdown reception. So you look at on down the stat line here. Jack Cohn did a really nice job getting that ball spread out across his receiving core, which that's something that any coach would love to see.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Cohn did what he had to do last night. I mean, and granted, he's done for the most part what he's had to do. It's been a little painful in the past watching all of it. But the dark spot, unfortunately, is Braden Lindsey.
Yeah, I hate saying it, but you're right.
-2 yards. That's that guy. He's supposed to be our playmaker, and he has done pretty much nothing this year. He's really done nothing in 2 years because he didn't really play last year. So the Lindsey we saw 3 years ago that was just, having his way with everybody is not the same Lindsey that we currently have on the roster. And I don't know what's going on with that. I don't understand if he's still slightly injured and they're just not saying anything, but I hate to see it for him more than anything else. I mean, he, all this potential and just, to me, wasting it away. But
I think it could be a number of things. Could he be playing hurt? Absolutely, that's a strong possibility. But also, what I just mentioned too, with guys like Lorenzo Styles and Deion Colsey, we're seeing some guys emerge here. We're seeing guys like Kevin Austin get their chance. So I mean, there could be a number of factors with that. But yeah, you're right. It's very concerning to see this with Braden Lindsey and how fast he is and how he's able to burn guys and the flashes that we have seen of him, of how good he can be. So it is very disappointing, but myself, I don't exactly have a straightforward answer for it.
No. And I don't think anybody that's outside of the actual football program knows. I mean, I've heard nothing, and I don't think anybody else has. So, but yeah, I mean, if he's that good and he has that much talent and all that, you put yourself in a situation where you can be targeted, and he's not getting targets. I mean, it'd be one thing if he was targeted 10 times and had 9 drops. Yesterday, he was targeted 1 time. I mean, that to me is telling me that you're not getting open. You're not doing what you need to do. Maybe you're running bad routes. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy. And to me, it's like I said, it's just a waste. It's an absolute waste.
Either that or Cohn's missing him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you look at, yesterday target totals. Okay. Number 1 targeted guy was Kevin Austin with 7 targets. And then behind him, tied for second, is Michael Mayer and Kyron Williams. So, I mean, there's 12 targets between Kyron Williams and Michael Mayer. And then Lindsey's getting 1.
Well, and you knew your stud tight end is going to see a
and I mean, Notre Dame is live and die by the tight end. I mean, that's there's a reason that Notre Dame's in the top 3 for tight ends in the country. I mean, year in and year out, Notre Dame is definitely tight end U. But if Austin's getting 7 targets and Lindsey's getting 1, and Lindsey is more of the playmaker type with the raw speed and all that than Austin is, why is he only getting 1 target? That's just that, I don't know. It's crazy.
It's hard to explain, man. But something else I wanted to bring up too. I mean, we can't, of course, not talk about the defense. I thought the defense played exceptionally well last night. But can you believe, Ben, that there are some people out there in social media world actually complaining about our defensive play last night? All because when you look at the final stats, USC ended up outgaining us 424 yards to 383. Well, last time I checked, it's points that matter on the scoreboard, not yards.
Well, yeah, and I think it's more Notre Dame's defense currently is a bend but not break defense, as opposed to just an absolute shutdown every facet of the game defense. And like you said, points matter more than anything else. But, okay, how much of this stuff that was extra yards and all that was gained during garbage time?
Excellent point.
And that's the way I look at that. I mean, stats and numbers don't always show you the full picture, because when you start putting in guys that are younger and inexperienced, they're going to allow yards. I mean, and vice versa. Okay. When you put in guys on the offense that are younger and inexperienced, they're not going to get as many yards. So is it that the defense played bad and not up to the standard that we're used to? Or is it because we had a lot of guys in because we were up by X amount of points at a certain time and USC still had their starters?
Yeah. USC didn't get their first touchdown. They got their first points in the second quarter, but they didn't get their first touchdown till late in the third quarter. So that should tell you all that you need to know. Our defense was playing lights out.
And our defense had how many turnovers was it? Let's see.
We had 2 sacks that came from Isaiah Foskey, and then we had Bo Bauer with the interception inside the red zone.
It was almost a pick 6.
Yeah.
Like literally a couple of yards away from being a pick 6. And Slovis made a great tackle to stop him from getting into the end zone.
So you want to talk about
USC had 2 fumbles. So, I mean, the defense was definitely putting on pressure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's not a lot of complaint if you're actually looking at what really went down as opposed to just the numbers. I mean, you can look at the score of the Alabama-Tennessee game. That says one thing, but they doesn't really show how close Tennessee played Alabama yesterday.
Well, and also something else that people have to remember too is this is still, even though it's a down year for them, this is still the USC Trojans. I mean, they're still going to get playmakers. I mean, you look at their quarterback, Kedon Slovis. He was 27-37, just a yard shy under 300 yards. But the key stat there, no touchdowns. But this is still a guy who knows how to pass the ball. Then you have other playmakers. Keontae Ingram, 24 carries for 138 yards and 1 touchdown. And of course, Drake London. This is a receiver we're definitely going to be hearing a lot about as things move forward. But 15 receptions, 171 yards. So yeah, this is still a USC program that is going to be getting playmakers.
Right.
So they're going to be a tough opponent every freaking year. You can count on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like I said, numbers don't always tell you the full story. I mean,
Yes.
numbers are very, very misleading. And like I brought up, the whole Tennessee versus Alabama game last night. Okay, Alabama won 52-24, but Alabama was only up by 3 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And they scored 28 points in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, you look at that score and you go, man, Alabama just boat raced Tennessee. But then you really go back and look at what really happened, and it tells you a different story. So I think a lot of people are looking at it from the wrong angle, if you will. But yeah, I mean, all around great victory. Southern Cal made me nervous. They are one of those teams that make you nervous no matter what's going on.
Yeah, no kidding.
Year in and year out, they're a threat. I mean, they're definitely a threat, and it's been a crazy year for football this year. I mean, we've seen a lot of teams get upset. We've seen a lot of teams win that shouldn't be winning. It's anything can happen. So I wasn't giving USC any flack about what we could or couldn't do against them. So.
Well, and we had 2 more top 10 teams go down yesterday. We had Penn State get upset by Illinois of all teams, and then Oklahoma State get knocked off by Iowa State, which that surprised the hell out of me, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But real quick, Ben, one thing I wanted to mention before I forget about it, and myself personally, I'm really trying not to read too much into it because I understand that, teams get frustrated, especially – and we know it very well ourselves when we've had a down year and things haven't gone our way where, frustration gets the better of you. But do you have any thoughts on USC and their players and their interim coach making the comments that they did, saying that they just ran out of time last night and that we didn't actually win? Just
put on your clown mask, silly, absolutely silly. One of those things that it just an absolute joke. Just an absolute joke. I don't know what they're trying to gain there or prove, or if it's get under Notre Dame's skin or whatever, but it's silly in my opinion.
I agree. There was no need for it, but at the same time, like I said, trying to, I guess, play devil's advocate a little bit here. We've had to, as Notre Dame fans, we've dealt with the frustration of things not going how we want them to go, and just that frustration. So from that point of view, I can understand it to a certain degree. But yeah, it was just, you're not helping your case and how you look by saying stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, overall, Ben, the Irish improved to 6-1 last night, a win over a big rival, if not the rival on our schedule.
Yep.
We moved up from number 13 to number 11. I was really thinking that we could have made the top 10, but I guess I don't know. I guess we'd probably be sitting in the top 10 right now if UCLA had pulled off the upset over Oregon. But we're inching closer and closer to that top 10, and a shot at an NY6 bowl is still very likely on the table.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just you got to keep on pounding, as the saying goes. It's one of those things that, you control your own destiny by just working hard and doing what you got to do. And Notre Dame did what they had to do. They beat Southern Cal. And now it's, North Carolina on the horizon, and just got to keep winning. So,
yep.
I mean, and the top 10 is teams that, everybody that's in the top 10, in my opinion, deserves to be in the top 10. You can make a case for all of them. So, Notre Dame's got to keep winning. Got to prove to these voters that they deserve to be where they're at.
Yeah.
All you can do.
I mean, I'd still like an outside chance at a playoff spot, but that's probably hoping way too much right now. But like I said, an NY6 bowl bid, that is still a big time reality. So just hope for the absolute best. And like you said, the only ones we can worry about is ourselves and what we do here going forward. So on that note, Ben, I don't have anything else to add. Do you?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, on that note, I am ND Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
And as we always say, God bless, good night, and go Irish.
Go Irish.